Hello everybody and welcome to another video. I've been wanting to get some more batteries, and there were a few ways that I felt that I could do it. I could either go and get some more Pylontech batteries. I'm used to them. I've used them for many years now, and they're pretty easy to work with. Or I could do what I did originally on this channel and try and build some more batteries myself. Or I could maybe get hold of an old electric vehicle battery or something like that and try and turn that into a home storage battery, because they're reasonably inexpensive. But having looked around at what my options are and the amount of work involved in the various options, I decided that I would try and build another one, but rather than building it from old laptop batteries like my original Powerwall, I would try and build it using a kit that contains prismatic cells. And in this way, I get a bit of fun of building a battery, and I obviously get something for the channel, but also I save quite a lot of money, because the price of a kit and the amount of capacity you get compared to getting the equivalent amount of Pylontech capacity is quite significant. And it works out probably about half as much all in to do it this way. So yes, you don't get the warranty that Pylontech offers, as long as you trust that. Now, if you want to see my experiences with dealing with Pylontech's warranty claims process, I've got another video which you can find on my channel, or I'll try and leave a link to it at the end of this video. I personally haven't had any real problems with them, but I've heard from other people who have, and people who are waiting quite long periods of time to get batteries replaced under the warranty. So you have to bear that in mind. The kit that I've decided to go for, I bought from a company called Fogstar. Now, this video is not sponsored by them in any way. I've spent my own money to buy this kit, but they are a UK company. They import batteries and they test them, and so you can be confident in you're getting what you paid for, and you're not getting grade B batteries when you paid for grade A batteries and that sort of thing. And they do come with a certain level of warranty, because they are actually brand new batteries, or in the case of the ones that I bought for my kit, they're brand new batteries. You can buy the kits with grade B batteries. I think you probably still get some kind of warranty, but it won't be as long as obviously if you're buying the brand new grade A cells. So bear that in mind too. But yeah, Fogstar do this kit, and it's a kit where you get 16 of the prismatic cells. Now you can either go for 280 amp hour, 304 amp hour, 315 amp hour. There's various ones you can go for. I went for the 314 amp hour cells, so that gives me the equivalent of effectively about 3 of the US 5000 Pylontech batteries. It's the same sort of capacity as 3 of those. And it comes with this big, tall metal case, and the batteries are all sat in that. The case, it looks really nice. It's got a little screen on it so you can interrogate the individual cells, see what capacity they are, etc. And what voltages they're at and all that sort of stuff. So it comes with the BMS and stuff all as well that goes with the case. So it is everything you need. You just have to basically put it all together yourself, which is something I like doing. So I decided to go for that. And what follows now is my experience of putting this kit together and getting it all up and working. So without further ado, let's get into that footage. And it'll probably be a 2-part video because it's quite a lot. But I'll get into some more details of the settings and stuff that I'm going to use at the end when I actually get it up and running and I start fiddling around with it, trying to get it to do what I want it to do. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into the footage. My parcels have arrived. There were 6 of them. So this first small one, I'm assuming, contains the BMS, maybe the nuts and bolts, any wires, that sort of thing, smaller stuff. This one, I assume, contains the cabinet that will house the prismatic cells. And then these 4, I'm assuming, are the prismatic cells. There'll be 4 per box for a total of 16. So this battery will be a 16S, unlike the Pylontech batteries, which are a 15S. So this battery will have a slightly higher voltage than the Pylontech batteries, and because of that, it means you can't mix these in the sort of with Pylontech batteries connected to the same inverter because they're at different voltages. So this battery will have to be connected to its own inverter. It would be fine, I suppose, if you had multiple of these and you put them in parallel, but you cannot connect these with the Pylontech batteries because they're different voltages. So let's get some of these opened and have a look at what's actually in there. Right. Okay, so what have we got? We've got this looks like some sort of sticker, and then in here we've got lots and lots of screws and bolts, different sizes, and then over here we've got I assume that's either for a fuse or a shunt. Probably a fuse. Yeah, there's the fuse. So we've got a an 80 volt. It says 400. Maybe that means 400 amps, but I don't know. That seems quite high. I'm not going to be pulling anything near that out of it. That looks like a foam sticker, and then these look like probably the balance leads for the BMS. And then I assume there's something underneath here. Okay,
So here we have, this will be the copper bus bars and the bus bars to go between each battery. And then what else have we got here? We've got a isolator here. Turn the main connectors on and off, I guess. We'll find out more when we've built it. And then we've got, I assume these will be the positive and negative terminals. Yeah, negative, and that one down there will be the positive. I assume that these open somehow. It says press. I think that probably means to shut it. You probably have to push in the inside there with a screwdriver or something to release the top. I'm not sure what sort of connection it has in there. By the looks of it, it's just a screw terminal, so you just have to put some lugs on the end of your battery cable, and they'll be bolted directly in. It doesn't use the sort of push-on connectors that Pylontech batteries would use. So yeah, that's all good. I need to try and get that back in there again. No, I think it did go that way. I want to squash them any more than I have to. Okay, so that's that one. Now let's have a look at the next one. It's well packaged, lots of protective materials around them, which is good. This is quite deep, whatever this is. Okay, that's like a solid piece of foam. Let's get that off. Okay, so there's the feet. It's got casters, so they should be very heavy duty, because this is going to be incredibly heavy. Each of these battery packs here, it says is 22 kilos, and there's 4 of those, so it's going to be 88 kilos just in prismatic cells alone, and then the weight of the cabinet as well, of course. So it's going to be heavy, heavier than me. So it looks like you've got, it says balance switch there. That's interesting. This will obviously be where the breaker goes that we just saw in the other box. I'm assuming that probably that sticker goes on there somewhere. Okay, I'll try and get that out, and we'll have a closer look at it. Right. So all I did was tilted this box up on its side, up on its end, so that the casters were at the bottom here, and then just wheeled it out. So it was quite easy to get out. Okay, so this static shock. So this is probably where the sticker goes on here, I'm assuming. We've got a little screen here. These will be the lights that will shine through those bits on the sticker. Let's have a look. Just got it here. Yeah. So yeah, that's going to be on there. So this is obviously the on-off switch. That'll be the screen, and then you've got run, alarm, and capacity indicators here. So similar to the Pylontech display. You've got the Fogstar logo there. It's good, solid, and moves around well on these casters. It's very easy to move. And then on the back here we've got RS485 1 and 2 and CAN bus and another RS485 there. We've got an earthing point, and then presumably, yeah, this will be for the negative power supply, and the positive output from the battery, and then, yeah, obviously there is where the breaker goes, and that's it really. It looks like these screws aren't in place. I'm not sure why that is. Maybe they're not needed, but other than that, it's quite a nice slim little unit. And I guess we take this side panel off here and we slot the prismatic cells in, probably in 2 stacks on the side there. But yeah, a nice little solution, easy to move. Okay, so I've just cut this one. I wanted to do it off camera carefully because I didn't want to cut into anything, just in case, because this is the batteries. Okay, so it looks like there's a bag of silicon in there. I won't open all of these now, but enough to see what's in here. Oh, well, I'm not sure how you get that out. Let me try off camera. But there you go, as I suspected. 4 brand new prismatic cells per box for a total of 16. And yeah, these are grade A, brand new ones. You can get the grade B versions for less money from Fogstar, but I went for an entirely brand new system. So yep, now all we need to do is try and put it together. I'm hoping that there's some instructions inside this case. Otherwise, I'll have to see if there's a video online. All right. So I've undone the screws side. That's pretty heavy. Okay, so we've got the BMS up there. Sponge pads. They'll go between the cells. Sticky back plastic. I suppose that's to insulate the metal case so the batteries don't come into contact with it directly. That'd be for the sides, that'd be for the bottom, and then there's one there for the back as well. Okay. Right, well, let's get building. Right, I've taken the 2 bars off here. There's just 4 screws at the bottom. Make sure you do these screws and not those ones. And now I've just got to try and get this piece of thing out, but I can't quite get my fingers under it, so I'll have to try and pull it out with something. And then what I'm going to do is stick that in the back there and stick the other sticky back plastic in there, as per the instructions on the video that I left a link to in the show notes. Okay, that's all in. These side ones, they don't stick on this bottom edge here because there's no actual piece of metal there, so that, don't press on that, otherwise it pulls it away from the other bits. It only actually sticks on the bars here and here. The middle is hollow on the side ones, something to be aware of, but the rest of it, you know, these ones, these all stick solidly. It's a little bit tight trying to squeeze this corner in but I did manage to get it in the end.
Right, so I've taken the top off, like it said. That was this piece, and then below that there was another piece over there which I had to take off. The bolts that hold that on are huge. I don't know why they need to be quite so large, but anyway, there's two really big bolts at either side to hold that on. And one thing I did find was that I think it was this cable was plugged into that lower bit. So I took a photograph, and I would suggest you do the same. Take a photograph of where it's connected before you disconnect it, so that you know where to reconnect it when you put it all back together. Right, now I've got to put the batteries in. Okay, so I've got the prismatic cells out of the box. It's best to just sort of turn the box on its side, slide the whole block out, and then remove the top half. There'll be a little gap where you can get your fingers in and you can pull the whole foam top off. It's quite tight, but you can get it off. And there you go, brand new prismatic cells. So now I need to start putting those into the case. I might just check their voltages first with the multimeter just to make sure they're all okay before I connect it all up. Right, that's the first side done. I've checked all of the cells as I opened the boxes. They're all exactly the same voltage, 3.29 I think it was. So that's really good. So yeah, that's one side in. Now I've got to go back up the other side. It tells you to start at the top and work down. I think it would be better to start at the bottom and work up, really, but anyway, because you have to move them all up otherwise to make space for that last one, and then shove them all back down again. But it's simple enough. I mean, it's pretty easy. The only thing that's a little bit confusing from the video is it says make sure that the negative is on the left, I think. So that's the negative. So I'm assuming it means on the left side, the negative's on the left. But anyway, I'll do it this way, and if it turns out it's wrong, I'll have to just shift them all over the other way. But I'll let you know when I get to that stage whether or not I made a mistake there. Okay, so something I've noticed when trying to fill this side, you can't put the battery in like that from here because this bit sticks out too much. So you have to put it in at the top and then slide it all the way down to the bottom. And you'll have to do that with all of them because you just won't get it in otherwise. So I'm finding the easiest way to get these out is to fold this flap down, lean it on its side like that, and then bend the edge flaps back and tilt the whole thing up on its end like that, so it's upside down. And then you can just lift the top off like that. And then just, you can turn this over the right way up then, like that. And then you can just take the top off and the batteries are there. And I find to get the top off, you need to kind of alternate your hands from end to end. So you pull at this end, then move up and pull a bit at that end, then back to this end, pull a bit at this end, back to here, pull a bit at that end, and keep going. And it slowly works its way off until you can get it off. Okay, let's have a quick check of these voltages. They've all been 3.29 so far. Yeah, 3.29, 3.29, 3.29, 3.29. So they're all good. Let's get these last ones in, and we should be able to stand the rack back up again, I think. Maybe. Okay, they're all in, but I do have some foam pads left, and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 left. So I'm wondering, although it doesn't look like it in the video, whether or not you should have a foam pad right at the very bottom here, because it's just got one between each cell at the minute, but maybe you're supposed to put one at the bottom there and also one on the top edge as well. But even then, that would only use up 4 of them, but maybe they give you 2 spares, because I seem to have a spare piece of plastic as well. But yeah, it's not clear from the video, and if I put them in, I suppose I might find that I can't screw the top bit on. So yeah, I'll have to have a think about that one. Okay, I understand now why those screws had to be so big, or those bolts, because they're going to compress the batteries. So you have to put this top plate back on. I watched a bit further in the video. It doesn't look like there's any padding at the top and bottom. So you put the top plate on and you have to bolt it back down. Now, there was these 2 bolts in there when I took this top plate off, but there's also a pack of 6 in the bag, and the video shows 3 on each side, so that would make 6, but it already came with 2 in there, so I'm assuming that I have to use 4 of these and the other 2 are just spare. And then the video also says you need to torque the bolts to the correct setting in order to compress them to the required amount. Now, I guess that's different depending on what type of prismatic cells you're using. So I need to look up what the correct torque setting is to compress these cells, and then I will torque up those bolts to the correct number of Newton meters to compress these to what they should be. But bear in mind that yours, if you're building one of these and you've got different cells to these, your setting might be different. Okay, I've changed my mind. Once I screwed this plate down, I noticed that actually it hit these metal edges here before it hardly compressed these cells at all. So I don't think it's going to provide the compression necessary without another foam block at least in the top. So I'm going to put another foam pad at the top and bottom as well, just to give it the ability to compress them down tighter. Right, that looks better to me. See, there's a nice size gap in there now, where when I tighten that bolt down, it's going to really compress these cells, and actually the torque setting on these bolts will have some effect on how much pressure is put on these cells, whereas before it was pretty much just butted up against this metal and it wouldn't really made any difference at all. So I think putting the extra foam in the top there, and I've also put it at the bottom here, probably is what they intended, because otherwise why would they give you that many in the box? Okay, it doesn't tell you what to tighten these to, what torque it says. In the documentation, it just tells you what the maximum compression is on these cells, but it doesn't tell you what to torque those at. So I've sent a message to Fogstar to ask them what is the correct torque settings, because the video doesn't tell you. In the meantime, while I'm waiting for them to reply to that, I've started installing the battery terminals on the lid here, and these are just connected with 4 of the round-headed black screws, not to be confused with the other bag which has got flat-headed black screws. But yeah, those go on quite easy. That's that bit done. I also need to now connect this. It shows in the video to loosen the terminals on here before you put it in, so I'm going to do that and then screw that one in as well. Okay, so I've secured this onto here and onto the breaker and torqued it to the required torque settings, and then the same with this top one, torqued those up to the required settings. All of it's in the video. It tells you what settings to use. That should be sort of pointing towards the back like that. And put this piece back on. I've got the fuse mounted on there, and now I just need to undo these 2 things on the BMS,
and then this piece will go on there and over the fuse. So I'm about to do that, and then presumably there's got to be one on the other side as well somehow. Okay, trying to get this on here is very, very tight. Once you get these two in, this is not very lined up with this. It's kind of, the hole wants to be nearer back here a bit more, so it's quite difficult to get that on there. So it's going to put quite a bit of force on there, I would have thought. Yeah, I might try and loosen these two thingies so that it can move slightly, and then tighten them up at the end once this is clamped down. The video doesn't make it clear what you're supposed to torque this up to, but I assumed it's the same as the negative, so 6 Newton meters. It also doesn't specify for those ones either, so I would say probably the same. It also didn't specify for these. For those, I went to about 4.5. Any more than that felt like it might damage the sort of connector underneath. So I did 4.5 Newton meters of torque for these, and then the rest at 6. That's pretty much the top bit done. In the video it tells you to connect up these various cables, but in my kit when it arrived, these were already connected up. The only one I had to put in was these two, and they're obvious where they go. And I had to put this connector on here, which again, it tells you to do that in the video, but that one wasn't connected, even though a lot of the other ones were. So but it's all pretty obvious, nothing tricky really. So yeah, that's all done. I'm just still waiting for them to get back to me about the compression thingy on here. So I've covered up all these terminals for now, because I'm going to have to leave it for a while so that nothing could accidentally drop on there and short, because that would be quite dangerous. So that will probably be it for today, I think. I'll probably get a response from them tomorrow, and then I can carry on with the build. Right, I figured out what this other piece was for. It's to go between the 2 rows of batteries. Now it doesn't show this on their own video, but I saw it on a different video while I was trying to figure out what the torque settings were. So this piece is to insulate one side of the batteries from the other, so it's important to get that in there as well. And also from this other video I found that what I guessed was right. You should have a piece of foam at the bottom edge there and another one at the top edge too, so otherwise you won't get the right compression. So yeah, I've had to take that out, put that piece in, and now I'm going to put those batteries back in again and put the compression plate back on the top, and I'm just going to tighten it up until it's what I think is reasonably tight, and then I can always adjust it a little bit if I get some better information from their support. But other than that, I think basically they'll, as long as it's reasonably tightened down, it should be fine.